Hi and welcome to another Destiny Success Incorporated recording, and today we're picking up and continuing where we left off last time. If you remember, you've been following these teachings that are the orientations. They're being hosted by yours truly, Reverend Walter Wambazi. I'm an international TNS trainer and lecturer, and I'll be taking you through the whole course to help you understand and get familiar with the orientation. This one is part 1 of the orientation process. This is the 8 steps to mastering the TNS network building system. And this is all part of the 90-day Millionaires in Motion material from the website that you can see up there. Now, remember that the orientation actually is something that you need to do because this will help you to grow your business. And we start off by looking at basically, first and foremost, when it happens. It must happen within 7 days of registration, and where it could be at the office, it could be home, it could be wherever it's convenient, and obviously online using this very system that you're tied up to, and how using the system methods that are going to be shown in the next slides. Now, you need to remember that this particular version you're watching is the orientation part 1. So before the orientation, you have what we call the kit handover, and there's the first and the second part of the kit handover, and I'm hoping that you're able to manage to go through it all and to finish all the modules and lessons that are there within that particular kit handover. So right now we're moving and progressing straight into the main training, and we're looking at the 8 steps to success. Now, this is a lesson that's taught in our system and in our business. So what are the 8 steps? Let's go through them. The first one is the dream. Everyone must have a dream. This is the core or the beginning of everything. Then we have the promise. This is the commitment that you make to yourself and to those around you as to how much you're going to commit to the business. Now, the nameless. This is the very core of our business. See, if you don't have a list, you're going nowhere. It's the greatest asset that we own as business people. The invitation. Invitation is a great skill, and the better you are at learning how to invite, the more you're going to build this business quickly. Presentation is where people learn about the business, and it helps them to make a decision as to whether they should go ahead and join the business or not. And then we've got the follow-up. Follow-up is key. It has been shown and taught throughout that if you do not follow up, you're losing a lot of money. And then number 7 is check and service. You must keep on checking on your clients, checking on your prospects, checking on your downlines, and then servicing them accordingly. And lastly, we have what we call copy or duplicate. This is the core of our business, and it has been shown repeatedly that you must learn how to copy and duplicate this business. Now, let's move into the dream itself, and we start from there. Now, what is the definition of a dream? This is an inner vision that you are very passionate about and would be willing to do whatever it takes to realize. So you're dying to see this thing happen, and you're willing to do what it takes. And also, the dream has within it all that you hope to become, and the best way to make this happen is by first writing out that which you desire most in every area of your life. Now, we teach that to do that effectively, we first assess the 8 key areas of our lives. Now, here are the key 8 areas, and here's how we assess them. Now, these are very, very important, and this exercise is extremely cardinal, and I'm expecting every one of you that's watching this is going to take time to do this exercise. So you need to have with you your A4 hardcover exercise book, because we're going to be doing this, and it's going to be detailed, and you'll have the printed out version of the orientation which you have with you according to what you saw on the pages. Now, I expect you to take those, and you're going to put them together, and you're going to use them to help you create the actual lesson or exercise. Now, this is extremely important, and I'm not expecting you to skip this or run away from this, because this will help you to grow. So let's look straight into those 8 key areas. Alright, so now let's go into the area that we deal with spiritually, and we're starting off by looking at this thing vertically. So in other words, what we're saying is your spiritual walk in your life. Now, a lot of people have got different views of what spirituality is, and this is not a religious program, so we're just going to be straightforward, but I'll give you an example of Christianity, of which I am. Now, as a Christian, when we talk about spirituality, we're talking about your walk with God, how much you spend time praying, how much prayer you do, how much reading of your Bible you do and how much you do to improve that walk with God, your fasting and your spiritual disciplines. This should not be confused with what would normally be your activities that you would do when it comes, say for instance, to going to church, how much you're active in church in terms of activities like youth or perhaps ladies or men's groups, or perhaps the choir. These should not be confused and called spiritual, because they're not. Those are horizontal. Talk about them later. But here we're talking about spirituality and your walk with God and your improvement as an individual with God. Now, in doing this, the idea we have here is to have a current score out of 10. So we have the first current score out of 10. So ask yourself, spiritually, where am I? If I were to score myself, how much would I give myself in my area spiritually? And hear me with, please, all of those learning. When we talk about your current score, it's just not like there's a right answer or wrong answer. The current score is just what you feel you are spiritually in relation to a score of 10. So some people would feel maybe it's a 3 because maybe they feel there are lots of areas they need to improve spiritually, and others would feel they're pretty good spiritually, so maybe they'll give us a 7 or something. But the idea is that you score yourself according to your own perception, not the perception of anybody else. What do you feel you are in terms of your spirituality? Now, we have, of course, the perfect score, which is an ideal score, a 10 out of 10 score. But the real issue here is what factors would lead you to give yourself a full score out of 10. So, for instance, back to the issue of spirituality, you've got to ask yourself, what issues would make you score yourself a full 10? So, if you look at yourself, what would that be? Maybe perhaps more prayer time. Maybe you want to be praying in the morning and in the evening, perhaps 30 minutes every day. Maybe more time to read your Bible, more time to meditate on your scriptures and understand what's been said. Perhaps a weekly fast of some sort. Perhaps sabbaticals where you go up to the mountains to pray and separate yourself to God. So these are basically ideas from a Christian side as to what you think you would give yourself a full 10 out of 10. So that's the idea behind the spiritual score here. And then we've got the health area. Now, health obviously has to do with your current situation when it comes to your health, which is obviously exercising. It has to do with your weight. It has to do with your general health and disposition and how much you're doing towards improving that. And obviously you got to score yourself again out of 10. It could be maybe a 5. It could be a 6. How's your weight? Is it ideal? Are you overweight? Are you underweight? What's your situation? So you score yourself again and write the factors that would make you give yourself a full 10. And then we go over to family, and family has to do with your connection with your siblings. It has to do with your connection with your spouse, the relationship you have, connection with your children, the time you spend with them. Where would you score yourself out of 10? And what factors would lead to a full score of 10? What things would make you say, okay, if these things are there, I'm going to give myself a full 10 out of 10, and write them down. And then we move over to mental, and mental has to do with your personal development. This has to do with things like, for example, leadership and attitude and values and just personal improvement and obviously education in as far as your knowledge and your advancement in life is concerned is also part of your mental personal development. So these are factors that you have to look at and score yourself. As usual, give yourself a current score, and then look at the factors that would lead to a full score of 10. And then career has to do with your true calling. So here we're talking about, where are you in your life? I mean, is what you're doing really where you feel and sense that you're supposed to have been? One of the greatest clues to know if you're in your true calling is if they were to stop paying you today, right now, they no longer paid you a penny, would you still continue doing what you're doing? Do you love what you do so much that you do it for free and not even mind anyway? One of my favorite examples is the one of a DJ that once said, I love what I do so much that I can't believe they pay me for it. So it's one of the best examples you can use. So the key here is to ask yourself, is this really where you're called to be? And then financially, this is to do with your money, of course, how much you're earning, your cash flow, your income, your expenses, your assets, your financial IQ, how much you're investing, how much you've set aside for your future, and principles relating to finances. As always, each area I'm mentioning here, you got your current score. Where do you think you stand right now out of 10? And then, of course, you got your perfect score. And remember, every time we say out of 10, 1 is being absolutely useless and hopeless and terrible, and 10 being absolutely perfect and excellent. So that's the idea you're going to be scoring yourself with. And remember, there is no right or wrong answer here. It's all about what you think. Now, socially, we're talking about the horizontal relationship you have with your society. And here is where, for example, the spiritual guys and the church guys can sort of like come in. How much are you involved in your choir group? And how much are you involved in your church group? How much outreach are you doing? Perhaps are you going to the community to help people with their various social problems? Perhaps maybe you go to prisons or hospital or things like that. This is what we mean when we say social. So your connection between yourself and society. And here we have a current score, and then of course what factors would make you give yourself a perfect score of 10. And then recreational has to do with how much you unwind, how much you allow yourself to basically enjoy yourself and just be at ease. And this is where now people who are into sport come in. Maybe you're into the club, for example, maybe you love golf or whatever. So you're going to score yourself there as well, and you're going to ask yourself what factors would lead you to give yourself a full 10 out of 10 score. And so continuing with the dream and looking at all the factors that lead to it, we need to take all these things that you have done, the ideal score, and combine it to form your vision and mission statements encompassing all the 8 areas. So listen, just take every area. Remember you wrote all the factors. Take the factors and then write them all down in an orderly manner, from the very top one, which was spiritual, all the way down to the last one, which is obviously recreational, and then have one massive paragraph containing all the different ones. And remember that your vision is what you aspire to become, and your mission is what is your present tense statement of why you exist and who you serve and how. Now, you're going to use these to write out your vision and your mission, and I'm going to show you just now exactly how you do that. This is a very important exercise because it helps to crystallize your dream. It helps to put your dream in an order, an idea that makes sense to your mind and to your subconscious. And remember, you can only bring into reality things that you think you can do. One of the reasons that a lot of people fail to achieve goals in life is because they are not congruent to their inner being. In other words, the inner person does not agree or even visualize or even accept whatever is being shown outside. So remember, we have the law of correspondence, and what is outside is inside. So anyway, let's go into this, and I'm going to show you how you do that. So there is a little score, there's a little paper at the end of your page there. If you go to page 10 of the system sheets, go to page 10 now. Go to page 10, thank you, of the system sheets, and if you get to that, you're going to see something that looks like a cone, and it has all the various sections. So let me help you sort of like put this together, because this is what's going to help you to grow and write down your vision very clearly. Now listen to this. So we start with your vision. Your vision is where you aspire to go and who you want to become. So go back to your paragraph and read everything on your paragraph, that whole big paragraph you've just done right now, where you combine all the different aspects of the exercise we just came from doing, and tell yourself, where do you aspire to go in life and who do you want to become? Write it down. It should be one sentence. So your vision should be one sentence only, and it should say where you aspire to go and who you want to become. So you'd say, to be the da 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 and da 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 who I want to become, da 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 da, and to become yada yada yada. So here's it goes: to be yada 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 and to become yada yada yada. So that's how you write down your vision. So that's one sentence, and then from there we go to your mission. Now your mission is your purpose for existing, who you serve, and how. So the purpose. So now with your mission is where you go into your purpose. So you begin to look at the 8 key areas, and you begin to outline purpose line by line and explain clearly, so that everybody who's reading, who's looking at this, including yourself, can understand what you're trying to say. So we come to your goals. Now your goals are what success looks like and how you will measure that success. So this is where you outline your goals. And remember, we've got your personal goals score sheets, and we're going to get into that, and you're going to outline what success will look like for you. And then you get to your objectives. Now, objectives are what you must accomplish to attain your goals. So this is very, very important. Objectives are to do with your key activities. So what accomplishments must you make to attain your goals? In TNs, obviously, it means moving from one score level to the next, or moving from one rank to the next, and of course having the income to show for it. And in the 90-day challenge, we're going to teach you exactly how to do that. And then your action plan. So your action plan is where you now bring out the tasks that are, the oriented tasks, that are steps that to achieve objectives such as those relating to your final vision. So obviously this is the action plan. This is like, okay, today I'm going to do ABC, and tomorrow I'm going to do FGH and whatever. And that's how you bring this about. And so, continuing with the promise, we're looking now at the whole issue here and asking ourselves what the definition of this promise is. It is the state of being bound emotionally or intellectually to a course of action or to another person or persons, and a promise we make to ourselves and those around us to fulfill an obligation, tasks, and or goals toward accomplishing our vision and mission. So obviously remember what we just came from doing, which is the dream and all the various aspects relating to it. Now we're going to look at the promise. We're going to make a commitment to this. And to do that, we're going to go through a whole process here. Now let's go through this pretty quickly so that you see how it works. First of all, you need to commit yourself a minimum of 15 hours a week towards business building. And here there are two streams of income you need to learn about in our business: selling and network building. And I need to explain to you what that means. You see, with selling, selling is great because selling is what everybody needs to do to make money. We've talked about this, we've emphasized this a bit, in the training that we've done. But you got to realize that selling is like planting maize. Selling is something that you got to keep doing all the time. In fact, the best example I love so much is what we call the hauling buckets, because when you sell, you always have to sell the next day. When you plant maize, you always have to go back and plant maize the next season. And maize never ever gets to a point where it will grow itself. It will always have to be planted, and everything is always starting from square one. Now with orchards, orchards are totally different because you plant an apple tree, you plant a grape tree, or a grapevine, or mangoes. And the thing about these orchards is that when you plant them, oranges, when you plant them, they take really long before they begin to produce any fruit. So if you had the maize guy and the apple guy planting at the same time, the maize guy would make about 7 harvests before the apple guy starts to see any harvest. But the thing is, when the apples come, you and I both know that the apple guy is going to make far more than the maize guy. And not only that, apples are going to be equals to passive income. Why? Because once the apples start coming, once the grapes start coming, once the oranges start coming, they keep coming. And they will come season after season on cue. And the best part about it is that even if you died, even if you stopped working, those apples will still continue to come. You can pass those apples to the next generation. So that's the thing about the orchard, and that's what makes it so powerful. Those of you listening to this, those of you training, you need to realize that selling is absolutely awesome. Like the maize, it will feed you now. But the truth is that network building is where you will make your money forever in this business. For as long as TNs exists as a company and their payment plan continues as it is, you will continue to be paid money indefinitely. And when you build a powerful network on it, it's awesome. So basically, you need to realize that these are the two income streams in our business. Selling gives you instant income almost right now, whereas network building will take a long time before the money comes. In fact, sometimes 3-6 months, maybe even a year before you really start seeing some serious income. But we'll talk about that later. Now here's the scene. Now business building encompasses 4 activities. Network building is business building, and there are 4 activities, and these are prospecting and inviting. The whole key to going out there and finding and exploring for new people, and then the skill of inviting them, and then the presentation, and then the kit handover, and the orientation. So when we talk about the minimum 15 hours a week towards business building, we're talking about prospecting and inviting, presentation, kit handover, and orientation. These are your key business building activities. Selling is not part of business building. Selling is what gives you money now and here. Now we continue with the promise, And we look at the first 6 months that you come into this business. Take those as a learning experience. Call it on-job training. Take it as a way in which you're learning, but you're getting paid for it. And that's really what you should have. And take that as the attitude that you want to bring into the business. And I'm going to go on to what we call the 1-3-5-7 principle. And you're going to see how this works. Now, it takes about 1 year to become profitable. What does that mean? To actually start making a decent amount of money out of this business. Now, this is not true of everyone. We do have exceptional individuals that do it in months, maybe even weeks. We have had people move ranks at super high speed. But I'm talking about the typical scenario. The typical realistic scenario is that it takes roughly about 1 year to become profitable. It's about 3 years to be sustainable. In other words, in 3 years' time, if you were working, you would actually afford to decide whether you want to quit or not. Because at that time now, your business is actually matching your salary, perhaps even higher. One of the key rules of thumb that I always use to help you understand how this works is to ask yourself, if you want to quit your job and go full swing into this business, then ensure two things. Either you're a very hard-headed person like myself who decided you don't need any boss telling you what to do, or you make sure that your bonus matches your salary. If anything, it should exceed it. So you're going to have your bonus matching your salary, and then you're going to have sales that will supplement your bonus money. And if you can do that and you have a proper exit plan out of your job, that's the best way to go. So 3 years to make it sustainable, it becomes sustainable. 5 years to become a professional. Amazingly, they say professionals by definition are individuals that have done something for over 10,000 hours. And if you take 10,000 hours and divide it into a typical work day, which is 8 hours a day, and divide it into a typical work week, which is 5 days a week, you're going to see that it comes to just under 5 years. So 5 years professional. 5 years in this business makes you a pro. You have done everything. You've been there. You've done that. You know exactly what it's all about. No excitement, no disillusions, no crazy idea. Know exactly what works. And then 7 years, you become world class. 7 years is when you can say that your name will have spread everywhere. And if you build this business properly, believe me, people will know who you are. Now, continuing with the promise, we're going to go straight into looking at the next aspect, which is to set the actual goals. Now, listen, I'm going to ask you to actually stop here, and if it means pausing this video, you're going to have to pause this video, because there's so much that you need to do, and that's why we're asking you to set as much time aside as possible to go through this entire training. If you've downloaded these videos, the better, because then they allow you to do quite a bit. Now, anyway, either way, you're going to stop now. You're going to get your goal set worksheets and come through and start to work on this. So now the first one I want you to get is the goal worksheet, which clearly defines your personal goals. The personal goals worksheet. Now, this is going to help you to outline your business, TN's business goals and awards, and use the personal business goals worksheet. So each one of these is going to help you. So the personal goals worksheet helps you with your personal goals, and then the business goals helps you with the TN's goals. Now, let's go into detail and look at these personal goals under the promise. Now, the first thing, as you may already know, and as we've already said on several occasions, is that we're going to start off by looking at the personal goals worksheet and ask yourself the 4 achievements that you're proud of. What 4 things are you most proud of in your life that you've done? And here you list down all major goals in the next 10 years. That's on the next page. Ask yourself the 10 major goals. What 10 major goals can you do? And list at least 10 major goals, and don't be limited by the reality of what you face today. What I'm saying in short here is, don't allow your current circumstances to stop you from setting some big goals. So in other words, think big, look big, just take whatever wild, crazy goal you have, dream that you've had, and just put it down there, because 10 years is a pretty long time. So we're not going to restrict you or tell you to, be grounded in reality. Just set some major goals. And then after you do that, then on the next page, you have your 5 immediate goals. Now, these are goals that you need to achieve within 2 years. So you obviously have to look at the factors that are surrounding your situation, and then you use that as your gauge. Now, remember, you ask yourself what immediate goal do you need to accomplish, and why you need to accomplish that goal. So 5 of them. What immediate goal, and why do you want to achieve that goal? And here's an example of the paper itself so that you don't get confused. This is the personal goals worksheet as you can see it there, and that's what you're going to be using to help you do that. Now we continue with the business goals. Now on the business goals, we've got a couple of them. The first and foremost, the most important one is the immediate income goal. What is your immediate income goal? How much do you want to make now, as in today? How much do you want this business to make for you? And I always help you guys. Look, if you're coming in if you're coming in as a worker, somebody who works somewhere and has an income, then your salary is your goal. So if your salary is $1,500 a month, if your salary is $2,000 a month, if your salary is $3,000 a month, then that's your goal. So when you come into this business, give yourself a goal of saying, my business must make for me $3,000 a month, and then we're gonna sit down and begin to work out strategies of exactly how you can make that happen. Even though with the 90-day challenge, we're gonna show you exactly how you can do that. And then apart from that, then you, if you're one of those that's not working, in other words, you're coming into this and you're gonna be doing this full time, then in this particular case, there it's really straightforward, because all you're gonna do is take your monthly expenses. Okay, take your monthly expenses, add 20% to that, and that makes your income goal. So that's how you actually do it. Now, let's look at some progress goal targets and see exactly how these work in relation to your goals. Now, you must remember that this is the ideal scenario, and if you can move at this speed, there's some major incentives. If you remember the ultimate business, we talked about the 8 major incentives, and those incentives are tied to how quickly you can move from 1 star to gold lion and to honorary director in the business. So I'm going to give you some benchmarks, and you're going to be aiming for these if you want to make some good money from the benefits and the incentives. So you need to go to 3-star within 1 month of registration. And I can tell you this, with or without money, you can go to 3-star within a month. I already gave you the formula and the strategy of how, if you have no money, you can just make a list of 20 people that you know that you think are financially secure and solid, and you can go sell them the product, and that could help you to go to 3-star on the spot. If you've already got the $200, you don't need to waste time. Just go with your $200 and invest in products and have these as stock. Please remember, have it as stock, and you can begin to consume some, and then some you sell. And then you can go to 4-star within 2 months of registration. So if you join, for instance, in the month of June, by August you could be 4-star, because remember, the idea of going to 4-star is to simply bring in 5 people, have them all activate by joining with with $20 and then activating with $200. So you can go to 3-star within 3 months, because then you teach those 5 you brought in how to go bring their 5 and get them to activate. And you can go to 6-star within 6 months, and these are figures that can be achieved. And you can go to 7-star within 12 months. And there's a number of people that have gone to 7-star within 11 months. On average, most people take really long to get to this 7-star, but I can tell you that if you're going to follow what we're going to teach you, especially in the 90-day challenge, and if you follow what is being shown in this orientation, you can do it within the 12 months. And 8-star within 18 months. And if you can do this and get to 8-star within 18 months, you're going to be laughing all the way to the bank, because your income will show, your volume will be high, and everybody in the company will know about you. So you got to make sure that you work hard and get yourself to 8-star in 18 months. Continuing with the promise, we look at the business goals, and we're continuing with those. And remember the business goals worksheet, or business goals if you like, income benefits for fast track achievements. These are all some of the issues. Now let's look at the 8 stars in 18 months. Now in short, the company tells you that if you can reach 8 stars within 18 months, they're going to give you $10,000. That's some serious money. And this $10,000 is actually given to you, and it goes towards your car achievement. So this is part of the new strategy that the company has promised, and they say that if you can do this within 18 months, they give you $10,000 towards your car achievement. Now if you can go to Bronze Lion in 30 months, from the time you join, you're given an extra $15,000. Now listen to me carefully. This is not in addition. This is not 10,000 and an extra 5,000 on top. No. There's a 15,000 extra that's added to you on top of your 10,000. So if you can do it within the next 10 months, or sorry, 12 months, the company gives you this amount. And then Silver Lion within 36 months. The company is saying if you can do it within 36 months, then the company gives you an extra $20,000. And Gold Lion, if you can do that in 42 months, that's 3.5 years. From the time you join, you get to go to Gold Lion. The company gives you $30,000. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this, in case you crawl from under a rock, to become a Bronze Lion, you got to get 2 people under you to go to 8 star within the period given, and that's 2.5 years. And then to become a Silver Lion, you get 3 people to go to 8 star, and then they're gonna give you that. And then the next level is the Gold Lion, which is to get 4 people to go to 8 star. This is pretty serious. In 42 months, that's 3.5 years, and they will give you $30,000. Now, if you add all this up together, you can see it gives you a grand total of $75,000. That's some pretty good money. And remember, this is actually being given to you as a part of your car purchase. So here's how it really gets nice. So when you reach 8 star in 18 months, they give you $10,000. Now, if in the next 12 months you can go to to Bronze Lion, they give you another $15,000. And if again you can make it to Silver Lion within after 6 months after that, so in other words, after becoming a Bronze Lion within 6 months, you go to Silver Lion, they give you another $20,000. And then if you can do that to Gold Lion again after 6 months, you get $30,000. This is some pretty good money by all standards and definitions, and I think it's worth it. And here's the really good part. If you do not manage to reach any one of these levels within the given time, let's say it takes you longer and there's no time limit to it, as long as you reach 8 star, however long it takes, the company will give you a $5,000 cashback reward for that. And if you can reach Bronze Lion, they will give you an $8,000 cashback reward. And if you do Silver Lion, however long it takes, they'll give you a $10,000 reward. And if you reach a Gold Lion, whatever time it takes, they'll give you a $15,000 reward. So here the key is, as long as you get there, then they will give you half of what was initially promised. But if you can get there within the time given, obviously they give you much more. And so this makes it very, very attractive for people that are looking to get into this. So here's the deal. Find and commit 15 hours of the week using the weekly schedule and extra sheets provided, and this must be done. So here we're going to now use a sheet which I'll show you. The last page on your book, on that paper you've been using, the personal goals worksheet, page number 5 is actually the personal goals. It's a weekly planner, and you're going to sort of like divide your week. And let me show you how you do it. You're going to be committed to this 15 hours a week, or else you become an exclusive consumer until you can commit. So really, the truth is that if you cannot commit 15 hours of the week into this whole prospecting and business building idea, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to build this business. We will not lie to you. You really need to commit the time into it. And then you schedule only the network building activities. Sales are not part of the minimum 15 hours a week. So here we're saying focus totally on the network building activities. And I think you remember what those are. You have to stick to those. That's what is going to be expected of you, because if you do those, that's what's going to see you build your business and get it to grow super fast. Continuing to build on this, we now move to the next section, which is the promise itself, and we're still building on this now. So here's an illustrated 15 hours a week guide and what it would look like. So here's an example. So let's say Monday to Friday, you're going to pick 3 hours, and you're going to take those 3 hours to basically just prospect. And you could be doing that by phone or email, but the idea is you're going to be prospecting people. And maybe the same again, 3 hours, you could use it to prospect by sending out packages or booklets or DVDs. And let me just pause here and explain this. When I say 3 hours of prospecting, I'm not saying on Monday 3 hours, on Tuesday 3 hours, on Wednesday 3 hours. No, what I mean is on Monday maybe an hour, and then on Tuesday maybe 30 minutes, and Wednesday another hour, and Thursday 30 minutes, and Friday another hour. But the idea is that when it comes to the full week, you've committed about 3 hours towards this. or you could decide to take the whole entire 6 hours and just commit it into phone and email prospecting. Remember, I already warned you about the email prospecting. There's a way that that's done correctly, so please make sure you do not rush off and start doing email prospecting until you have been taught correctly how to do it. Then also Wednesday and Saturday you could commit 3 hours towards the kit handover. Obviously that depends on how many new people you're signing up, and of course Saturday you could be doing the OPP. That's the open plan presentation where you're showing the opportunity to people, and then Sundays maybe an orientation. So this is just an idea of how you divide those 15 hours a week, and this is the sheet that you're going to be using to do that. So you're going to plan your time out properly so that you have a proper time in which you're committed to everything. So make sure you divide your time properly, ensure you know what's where at any given time, and that way you work very efficiently and very correctly. Continuing, you got to work the business. So network building is working the business. I repeat again, network building is prospecting, then inviting, and then and the idea here is 5 invitations daily by 5 days a week, and this is at a minimum level. So if you say that each week you want to invite 5 people, let me explain what that means. An invitation is a person who says, okay, yes, I'm going to look at your opportunity. And do remember that if you're going to be inviting 5 people daily, that means in reality you are probably calling somewhere in the region of 10 to 15 people to get 5 invites. So don't forget that part. 10 to 15 people or calls to get 5 invites, and this is just a typical number scenario. Obviously for those who are running with the 90-day challenge, it's going to be way higher than this. So 5 invitations daily by 5 days a week gives you an average of about 25 invitees a week, and the average expected attendees you're looking at about roughly 7 a week from the above 25. Why? Because those statistics we gave you earlier do really work, and we're going to look at them more later. But the average is that for every 10 you invite, about 3 will show up. They may not show up there and then, but they will show up. So the concept and idea is that you're generally inviting 25 people to get about 7 coming through. The OPP, the kit handover, and the orientation are the other aspects that make network building. So don't forget that part. And continuing, the expected incomes from network building via bonuses for the average successful distributor. Now this is going to be a bit of a deflator, but I'm going to explain to you that we're talking about the average successful distributor. There are so many people in our business that really don't go on to succeed, and we've explained this many times before, and for your sake I'll repeat. Number 1, lack of a serious commitment, lack of a burning desire. Number 2, lack of information. Number 3, lack of cash flow. These 3 things plague the majority of distributors, and so they never see the income. But on average, here it goes. First month you're looking at about $3 income. Second month you're looking at about $9 income. Third month you're looking at about $18 income. And I'm on a pause here, and here's the real reality, and this is depressing. Over 90% of our distributors never cross this $18 mark. The reason is very simple. It is because most of them never even follow what you're learning right now. Most of them will never even sit down to go through this kind of training, to get a picture of what it takes to build this business properly, and as a result they really do get stuck. And you must remember that these incomes I'm showing you here are coming from network building. We're not talking about sales here, because sales are totally independent of this, and sales can be way higher. And this is one of the reasons why at the beginning of the business we really do recommend as much as humanly possible that individuals get into sales, because sales are going to make a massive difference. Anyway, 4th month $60, 5th month $120, 6th month about $200, and so on and so forth. And there are a good number of people that have crossed these incomes very exceedingly and abundantly. So you got to realize that it's up to you to decide. Do you want to be the 90% that gets stuck at $18 and never crosses that figure ever? Or do you want to be the 10% that goes on to be excellent? And of that 10%, there's a 3% that goes on to be absolutely outstanding. So choose where you want to be. But I can tell you, if you follow the 90-day challenge and strategy, and if you do what we teach you, you will not be seeing these 90% incomes. Your income will be way higher than this. So let's run with that, because that's what we expect you to have anyway. Right on. So now we get to the next section, and here we're looking at the basic summary of all this promise section. And the key here is that you got to learn to reinvest all your money back into the business. And what do I mean by that? One of the biggest challenges that we have with a lot of new people is that when they begin to make money in the business, they tend to spend it all. So don't do that. So if you're gonna put in $200, then make sure that when you make your sales, put the $200 back into stock. Don't misuse the money, because then you're going to find yourself getting stuck. In other words, do not spend all your earnings, capital, or profits. Instead, plow back a portion, probably 50%, into the business in the form of stock and prospecting activities. So what do we mean by that? Stock is the actual products that you have, and then prospecting activities are basically what you'd use to get more clients. And normally that would be your airtime in your phone, and also the phone itself, and invest in better tools like laptops and the like. So you can save actively and then put that money back that way, and make yourself or give yourself a 1-year commitment of this business and follow the system through and through. Do not deviate from it. Ensure that you follow what you're learning here, and then also get everybody else who's gonna come through to follow the exact system that you're using here. In other words, get them onto the videos, let them see the videos, or you can use the papers yourself, and you can physically take them through each and every one of the lessons, and that way you're going to be able to see yourself grow as quickly as possible. Now, we're going to end this session or lesson today with a video straight from my mentor, Mr. Eric Worre, who's going to be teaching us about throwing away the blame list and taking charge of your network marketing career, because this is one of the biggest negatives that we have in the industry, in that a lot of people want to blame somebody. You want to blame the company, you want to blame your upline. That's the absolute favorite. You want to blame the people that you're in. You're going to say things like, I think the people in my country are definitely messed up compared to the people in your country. But I think you're going to realize that is all very untrue. So throw away your blame list and just learn the truth. So let's just pause this video, scroll down and watch the Eric Worre video right now, and then come back and finish off this lesson. Alright, so we're at the end of our session today, and we come to the end of this, and so make sure that tomorrow, or as soon as you're able to, you get to the next lesson and you will be well taught. So until then, take care of yourself and see you then.